What's up, y'all? It's Brian Keith. I'm back with another video. Today we'll be looking at the Real Housewives of Potomac Season 7, Episode 7, and was it crazy? Okay, so like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get into the video.
Yeah, let me check my shit real quick. Hotter than the fire coming out my flaming lips. You wanna play with me? You can't play in me. On the playground, bitch, you can't play with me. Got it, won it, securing the bag.
Like I said, this episode was very crazy, and I feel like I can't talk about this episode if I don't talk about Season 5, the fight between Monique and Candace. I know a lot of people don't like going backwards, but I didn't start, reviewing until now. So I mean, I didn't have the chance to review it, but I just know how I felt during that situation. So the fight between Monique and Candace in the barn, I felt like leading up to that, Candace always walked away. Yes, she had a mouth. Yes, she said certain things, but I felt like Monique wanted a problem with Candace, and Monique was very much going after Candace relentlessly. And like a lot of people said in their videos, I feel like Monique knew that Candace was the target, and Monique wanted to get in good with Giselle and Robin, the Green Eye Bandits. So I'm over here just like, okay, cool. I feel like Monique knew what the plan was. So when it came to the actual fight, I felt like both parties was wrong. I feel like Candace was wrong in the sense of Candace was being very, she was doing what she does best. She attacked with her words, but some of the words she was saying was very much, okay, so what you gonna do? What you gonna do? It's like basically inviting the attack. But Monique is a grown-ass woman who, she lost control. She couldn't get the verbal battle because, like Candace said, good night, and it made Monique snap. The whole hand in the face, regardless of the fact they both were participating in the attack, the altercation, we could say, and Monique, they had a little squabble, right? So ultimately, I definitely feel like Monique should have been held responsible because she attacked Candace. Candace didn't attack Monique, but everybody's saying, she put her hand in her face, she did that, and she did. We saw. Cool. And I feel like that shifted everything to getting Monique out. Right. So now with this whole situation with Mia and Wendy, after Giselle, Robin, Karen played the middle, just like she's doing right now. But Giselle and Robin, y'all had such vitriol for the fact that Monique, look, how dare you? You brought us down to here. You took us below the stand, all of this, right? But now with Mia, it's just like, okay, well, Mia, Mia, you did what you had to do. This, that, and the third is blowing my mind because I'm like, how can you condemn Monique for the same actions that Mia just took against Wendy? Let's talk about the episode. So the episode starts with everybody's getting ready. Mia's talking to Patricia, and basically talking about, hey, we about to go to your restaurant. He talking about he got beef with Wendy, and like I said, it's weird. I said it in my last video, like, how you have beef with a grown woman, but I digress, right? So while they're going through, everybody's getting ready, taking shots, getting dressed. Ashley's still trying to figure out the whole situation with Michael. So Mia goes outside and basically says to Ashley, Giselle,
bar one.
Oh, how did I know?
Oh, wow. Does Wendy know everyone? Does she need to know? Well, she has.
Oh, I think Jacqueline. Mia was talking about Jacqueline while we're there. Mia was best talking about, like, she keep asking me for stuff. She keep doing this and the third. And my whole thing, like, I can see where it's annoying, but it doesn't matter. Like, my friend is my friend, especially if my friend's on a trip with me with other people. Like, I mean, that is just weird. Like, regardless of the fact, yeah, my friend might be annoying, but that's my friend, and you said it's your best friend. So that's where I'm just like. And at the end of the episode, we see Jacqueline, she do say some words about Mia, and I think the way the editors play it, especially with Ashley, I feel like that's going to get thrown back into Jacqueline's face. But I don't think she was lying. But they were talking about how, oh yeah, Peter got beef with Wendy. I don't know what it's about, but it is what it is. We'll see what happens.
I heard that Peter has beef with Wendy, is what I heard. Peter has what?
Beef with her?
Beef, quote unquote.
This whole episode took place at this restaurant, which I'm actually kind of excited for and happy that it happened because we get to see the whole spectrum of what took place, how everybody got to the restaurant, they sat down, ordering their food, casual conversation, and this is when Charisse pops up and with her opinion, like, she's like, Giselle segued like, okay, what's going on with this? Like, y'all haven't talked, this, that, and third. What's going on? What happened to lunch?
I heard that you two spoke at the airport, and it was so nice, and both of y'all had smiles on y'all face. Have y'all spoken since then?
And then Charisse is basically like, well, with Wendy basically, wanted to say that Karen felt some type of way about me.
Consistent? No. Giselle? Okay, no. Well, when you have people saying that you're coming from a bad place. Okay. Who said you're coming from a bad place? And it's Wendy.
And Wendy, now with Wendy, it's like you sat down with Karen and you sat down with Charisse. That does seem weird, but maybe the producers made them talk. But not to even give an excuse, it does seem messy. It seems like you're playing both sides and going back and forth, running between people with information, right? So with Wendy, she's just like, regardless of how you feel about me, don't bring me in the middle. I'm not, you're deflecting from the actual situation. What's your issue?
You and Karen. You have all this energy for me, but yet you have yet to open your mouth and say something to her because you have. Are you scared of her? Are you scared of her?
So they go back and forth, and she goes to Karen like she's like with Karen, like she was like, why don't you want to sit down and talk? What's your issue with me? And Karen was just like, girl, that was 5 years ago. Like, I'm over it and done with it. Now moved on.
Then what your issue was with me?
People grow apart all the time. I have evolved. I'm in a different place, Charisse. And that is.
And she's just like, okay, well, you say you moved on, but how can you move on? The other party doesn't know the situation. Here's my thing. You don't have to get an explanation to not talk to somebody. You can cut somebody off without any type of explanation. You don't, like I always say, if I don't value the friendship or we're not friends like that, I don't have to say nothing to you. I don't care to explain why you disrespecting me for me to cut you off. Now, if it was a friend that did something to me and I just stepped back, I would let them know, like, look, I'm stepping back because this definitely threw me for a loop. I felt disrespected and I just need time to think about if I want this friendship or not. And hopefully they can respect that. If not, I mean, it is what it is. But with Charisse, she wants some profound explanation of why they're not cool and this and the third.
I don't know what your issue is. How do you move forward if you don't know?
I did it 5 years ago.
But my whole thing with Charisse is you came on the show, like Karen said, you only, when have you started calling me? Now, when the show started filming. So you didn't care the 5 years before, and you only came on the show to basically try to spray Karen's business. So I'm like, instead of just going with the fake and like, oh my God, you know, Karen, we should have lunch. Just go ahead and spray her business. Let's just go ahead and get to that point instead of trying to build something and then spray it. So Candace is supposed to come to town basically at 10 o'clock and supposed to be in town. So she basically missed this whole entire dinner. And Ashley basically talked about, well, you know, I have like, you know, me and Candace, we left off in a bad spot. We know we're not really cool or whatever, but you know, I have no beef with her. I don't know what the issue is.
Sometimes when a mirror is held up in front of her face, she doesn't like it. So if that makes me vindictive, then so be it.
But my whole thing is, ooh. She's like, my whole thing is with Candace is she's basically deflecting and trying not to, you know, with her husband, like you trying to make it seem like I did something so wrong. It's like, Ashley, girl, stop trying to act like you want her to feel the same thing you felt when everybody was attacking you with Michael and how Candace came at you about Michael, but the situations aren't the same because Chris didn't do the things that you're trying to accuse him of doing. Like you're basically saying, and they went into the whole butt comment. And I'm happy that Ashley didn't jump into this when she was just like, Giselle was like, I heard butt. I heard you say he rubbed on her butt.
Anyone else hear me say something about Chris touching a friend of mine? What?
I promise you, that was said.
And Ashley was like, nah, I didn't say that. They played the playback. She didn't say that. She said, she gestured that he came up beside her.
It was like.
I mean, I couldn't even tell what the gesture was supposed to be, but she explained it. So you could already tell that Giselle came in on just crazy. And everybody's like, I heard it too. Just like, no, you heard it from Giselle when she came up on that minivan. That's where you heard it from. Like you said, Giselle be lying for no reason. And Robin, even though I love Robin irritated me as soon as they sat down at that table. Because when Charisse started talking, she was like, Mia, you're in the car over here trying to throw it off on saying that you agree with Karen versus Charisse.
Wendy. You were just in the car saying now you understand why Karen doesn't with Charisse.
And Charisse is like, oh. And Mia's like, I didn't say that. And then you hear Robin talking about some.
Don't let people twist your words.
I'm just like, how are you going to sit here like Robin? You want to insert yourself in situations that had nothing to do with you. Nobody was talking to you. Like none of this had nothing to do with Robin. Robin could have sat back and ate her food and sat pretty. But she didn't want to do that. She getting up, getting loud, doing all of this aggressive stuff as usual of this season. I don't know what it is. I feel like she's trying to save herself because she knows that she's been on the chopping block. Even though, like I said, I still like Robin's like calm demure and like her whole personality. I just don't know what's going on this season because like I said before, you was on Candace's side and then you're not on Candace's side, and then you're over here like, say, I get what you're saying because Giselle's over here just spazzing, but then it's like, oh, Chris needs to calm down because he's over here deflecting from the situation. He got a lot more things to worry about. It's irritating. And like I said, Karen wrapped up Sharice very well, and that's just what it was. This whole fight thing. So Peter comes over, he hugs all the women, and he just hugs everybody, greets everybody, said the food's good, this and the third. Wendy told him to look at his text, he ignored it. Instead of him pulling Wendy to the side, since he had beef with Wendy, he said he had beef with Wendy, right? Instead of him saying, hey Wendy, can you come over here and talk to me real quick? He walked away, and everybody was just like, I thought he had beef with Wendy. She's like, well, he be joking about, I don't know, that's family. That's family. And I'm like, okay. So she basically gets up and goes check on Peter. Sharice gets up and with her. So they go talk to Peter, like, what's the issue? He basically explained the issue that he sent paperwork to Wendy about the whole specs of the contract, and Wendy never got back to him. He's just been ghosted, this, that, and the third. And I can see how disrespectful that could be. That could be very much like, okay, what's going on? Wendy's basically came back and said that that's not, because it's true. Like, her whole thing is she wanted to see, get a walkthrough of the restaurant, and there was no communication back for her. We don't know what's going on. At the end of the day, it's his word versus her word. I'm leaning more towards the professor, the Dr. Wendy, but to each his own. So Mia goes back to the table after Sharice basically inquired a partnership with Peter, timing, and he's like, you're not gonna do me like how Wendy did. She's like, oh, I don't do that. I'm just like, y'all are, it's irritating. Mia go back to the table and she sits down and she addresses Wendy.
He got beef with Chip.
Oh,
What's the beef about?
I don't have beef with men, so.
So Mia basically sits down and she says, well, Wendy, Peter told me that he got beef with you. And like Wendy said, no grown-ass man got beef with me. He need to talk to my husband. If he got beef, he got beef with me. And I totally agree. Like I said in my last video, like, how do you have beef? Like, to say that you have an issue, like, if it's a professional setting, cool. And this is why I always say have lawyers involved, because like, if you got a problem, you talk to my lawyer, right? But to be put in this position where now you're saying a grown-ass man has beef with you and he just walked by you and didn't say nothing, it's weird. And it's even weirder that Mia is fighting a battle for Peter when, to be honest, it's really none of her business. So like when Wendy rebutters like, I don't have no beef with no grown-ass man, and she's like, Wendy, don't start.
What's the beef?
Wendy, don't start it.
Don't start what? I don't have.
That's my family. Don't start it.
What are you trying to do right?
Don't start what? And that basically kicks it off, because it's just like, what are you talking about? Mia came out of the woodworks over nothing, and you're getting mad about something like a contract that, yes, like, okay, maybe it was rude. Yes, it might be about business. Yes, all these other things, like where you have Giselle and Robin over here chiming in, like, well, he's doing business. That makes sense. Being Mia's hype man, like, that makes sense. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I'm just irritated because I'm just like, well, Mia, like, Wendy's already gathering Mia throughout this whole thing.
Maybe you talk to other men like that, but
of course
I don't
do. I sit at a boardroom table with all men. Okay?
So
I'm the only female.
And she reading her down. And you could tell Mia can't take it, because Mia just over here just Wendy said something about, just because you and your husband do stuff like that, and then thruples, da.
Maybe that's how you and your husband play. How me and my husband play. We don't play like that.
Just going. I think one thing I can say about Wendy that I didn't like, I think it's the only critique I have about the whole situation with Wendy, is when you are in a verbal battle with someone and you are making threats, I wouldn't even say making threats, but making statements like, okay, what you gonna do? You standing up, what you gonna do? You ain't about to do nothing. Saying stuff like that can be words that can, like, fighting words, right? It could be words like, it can be stuff like that that makes someone want to do something. So that's the only thing where I can see, because Wendy was talking real hard, but we all know this setting of Housewives, this is not a, I'm about to, it's not that, it does not give that. So Wendy said that last thing, and Mia just
telling me I need to call some guy and tell him I'm coming to town. I'm not in town for business. No.
tossed the wine over, and like Karen gets up, Robin pulls her phone out, the RDZ, and I'm just like, for me, this whole situation was gaslighting, because while Wendy's over here, now Wendy has wine in her face, and to be honest, in most states, throwing drinks at someone is a form of assault. So to be honest, Wendy could have the right to defend herself in the court of law, in most states, not all, but in most states. And Robin pulled out her phone.
What's up, y'all? So you and your husband can go other women and
recording it. For me, that is, first of all, it had nothing to do with Robin, but now Robin's over here yelling, getting loud, pointing the camera in someone's face. That, first of all, I don't think anybody like a camera being pointed in their face involuntarily, you know, without consent. Just so I can see why it can be irritating. Mia is over here going crazy, and she walks off with Jacqueline because she just like, at the end of the day, like, I don't got time for this. I'm a boss. I'm this. I'm that. I'm all this, right? One thing I can say about Jacqueline is I feel like Jacqueline did a good job really diffusing the situation with her friend. I know a lot of people is just like, if my friend jump, I'm jumping. But in this situation, she took care of Mia. She pulled Mia to the side. She calmed her down. They walked away. I can commend Jacqueline on that front, where it's just like she de-escalated the situation where it could have been worse, right? So they go out, they talk, they calm down, and then Jacqueline's like, okay, what we about to do? She's like, I'm going back to the table. They go back to the table, and while they're at the table, Robin's trying to explain to Wendy, you've been very aggressive. The way you're talking is aggressive, and you're being very antagonistic, and you're being a bully.
Dating and you're being antagonistic. If you don't want to fight, then stop.
oh, so you're telling me to stop, but she threw a drink on me.
And then da da ba ba zaba boom ba da da da, all of this, right? And I'm just like, Robin, okay, let's say she was being that. Did you try to defuse it? Now, let's say she was doing all that. Did you try to shut it down? Or did you just pull a phone out and amp it up even more? It's like, yes, we're making a show, so we're not about to sit up here and act just aloof and just dense. But with Karen was just like, yeah, you know, I'm in the middle, y'all need to stop, I get out the way. And I'm like, Karen, I mean, you didn't do anything either, but at the end of the day, what can you do? I don't think anybody thought it was going to get up to that level. So there was a point where like Mia, like they're pointing at each other, just doing the pointing, and like Wendy get up, she said, do that one more time.
One more motherfucking time. You got one more motherfucking time. I let you with the drink. What you gonna do?
I'm just like, that's where I got kind of confused, because I was just like, okay, Wendy, like, don't let her take you out of your character and sit back down, because I'm like, now if Wendy hit her, I mean, to be honest, like I said, she threw the drink, so, but nobody's diffusing the situation. Ashley's sitting there on hush. Okay, Robin Giselle is just living for it. And you know, Wendy sit back down, and she's trying to explain to them like, okay, y'all over here calling me all of these things, but she the one that threw the wine.
Drink on you, what the would you do?
You're not doing that.
Exactly.
You're not doing that.
I've taken 2 seconds.
Y'all didn't say nothing to her. Y'all think everything's cool, but y'all didn't say nothing to her. They keep going. She bring up that Gordon and her be over here having sex with men and women. And then she brings up, she said, you mad at me because you effing Peter?
Raider Face said, woman throwing a drink on another woman for not calling a man.
No.
What type of woman does that?
So Mia said that they like friends. So I think that sent her over the edge. She tried to get to Wendy.
The woman? What type of raggedy bitch does that? What my name is? Are you gonna do it again?
She might.
And that's when we see the
Empowerment. You got one more time. And what you gonna do? Look at you. Look at the CEO.
look at slap. I can't tell if she hit Wendy. Wendy's saying that she hit her, so I'm just gonna assume that she hit Wendy with her pocketbook. When I looked at it on film, it did not look like she hit her like that. It's hard to tell. But yeah, that's when everybody's just like, oh my god. So Mia gets like dragged away. She's over here just going cuckoo.
You look at the CEO. Look at the CEO.
she busts her fingernail. And also another thing is like, how did you do all of this, get up in someone's face all this time, and you're the one left injured? At the end of the day, like I said, I'm not gonna say I'm happy, but I'm glad that it didn't escalate even further, because I know how disappointed Candace and Monique was when that happened. So I do have a slight empathy for Mia for, you know, being pulled in that environment and taking those actions. I mean, I'm human. But I'm really for Wendy, because when Mia left, she's like, I'm leaving, I'm packing my bags, I gotta go. I mean, God. So while she's doing that, Karen is just like, you know, throwing a drink and all that is wrong. I see and Karen basically trying to play the middle. Mia's getting mad at Karen because she's just like, you didn't defend me, you didn't help me, you didn't do none of that. And all of them just like, Karen, you just sat there. And I'm just trying to figure out, like, what was Karen supposed to do? And then it's like, how can y'all sit here and blame Karen for just sitting there when Ashley's right there? Giselle and Robin's over there just kikiing. The only person that really got up and did anything was Jacqueline. So I mean, give her a round of applause. But like I said with Wendy, I feel for Wendy, because she's sitting there and she's telling them like, y'all over here running to her to cater to her. But when it was Monique beating on Candace, y'all crucified this girl on national television for almost 11 episodes plus the reunion. It made her feel like she was just some angry tyrant that's going around popping people left and right? So it's like, how can you sit here and justify saying all that about Monique, and then when Mia does the same thing, regardless of what Wendy was saying, let's say Wendy didn't say anything extra than what Candace was saying, but it's like y'all crucified Wendy, who got hit with a pocketbook and a drink thrown in her face, and Mia is the victim.
Mia empathizers, or somebody who is okay with violence now. But when Monique did it to Candace, she was against violence.
When Mia started it about something that didn't have nothing to do with her. I think that's the part that I'm so confused on. If Mia would have left it alone, it would have been that. Mia, when it comes to, I don't know if it's a word, but when it comes to verbicality, Wendy gonna eat y'all up every time. Wendy can be condescending at times, she can. But at the end of the day, if you feel inferior by the way she talk and the way she articulate herself, that's you, that's not her. And she's not gonna be the one, how you gonna try to make her change the way she gonna talk and the way she articulate herself? That don't make any sense. So I'm team Wendy all the way. And like I said, I'm not a big Wendy fan. Like, Wendy's not really my girl, but I respect Wendy. And a lot of people want to sit here and talk about her being a commentator, a professor, someone that's making candles and doing all of that. That's something that most people couldn't even do on their best day, right? Get up, be a CNN commentator, a PhD professor, 4 degrees, have her own business, which is candles. How big or small it is, it doesn't even matter, because she still has her LLC and her business for Onye Home Essential Candles, right? So I'm just sitting here just like, it baffles me. It baffles me how the colorism on this show is crazy. Like, and let's say I'm gonna give it some grace. Let's say it's non-conscious. Let's say they're not aware that it's like colorism. Let's say they're just like, some people have not unbiased. That's what it is. They see Mia as this. They see Mia as this, like, oh my God, Mia, I can't believe Wendy said that about you. It's okay, you can't believe Wendy said that about her. Well, I can't believe Mia did that. How about that? At the end of the day, Mia is wrong. Do I feel like she should be fired? That was one of the questions I saw in my comments. Do I feel like she should be fired? No. And I say that because I feel like Mia goes after everyone, and I feel like, I don't know, I just don't feel like she should be fired. I feel like if everybody can hoop and holler for Portia to come back, I mean, it is what it is, y'all. But y'all, drop down in the comments that this episode was crazy, and I already saw the sneak peek for next episode, and seeing that Wendy, it looks like Wendy's going home. Maybe, maybe not. We don't know. But I'm going to see how Candace's going to react to this. because that's gonna tell me a lot. So we'll see, y'all. Like, comment, and subscribe. This episode was a doozy, and let me know if you're team Wendy or team Mia. I think I can assume. See you guys next video. Peace.